I know about managing moderators. Thank you, YouTube. I have them. Actually, my cousin's one. Anyways. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Yield Guardsmanon. Find myself a better seat here. Today, we are talking about GUNTARDS. No, I'm not talking about your FUD. I'm not talking about your person who has absolutely no idea what exists in the world of guns. I'm talking about the gentlemen and women who carry them, who are so fucking retarded that they sit there and they make stupid ass arguments like concealed carry versus open carry. Like, oh, I don't know. 10 rounds versus 50 rounds versus a fucking saw-automatic weapon. What's up with the cat, brother? Good to see you. Anyways, I'm sitting here talking about GUNTARDS. That's an exciting topic because what I've seen is that people think that a GUNTARD is somebody who is a right-winger who does, it's a right-wing term for somebody that carries and totes guns. No. Nor is it a left-winger term for a right-winger that does that. You know what a GUNTARD is? Oh boy, GUNTARDs are fun. See, GUNTARDs, they sit there and they're like, well, because I've got 30 rounds in my magazine, I've got a better opportunity, a better option. I'm going to handle this. No, you're not. And let me point out why. You see, you can dump that mag just as fast as you can dump that 10-round mag. You know what the difference is between somebody who's a GUNTARD and a gun carrier? A GUNTARD thinks that because they carry a gun, they're armed. A gun carrier thinks that because they're armed, they should fucking carry a gun. There's a mile of difference there. You see, I'm a gun carrier. But if you looked at my guns, the one that I carry personally on my hip at all fucking times, you'd be like, Blaine, you're nuts, man. What the fuck? You're carrying around a freaking black powder cap and ball revolver as your self-defense weapon? Yes. At all times. Believe it or don't, it's not about the gun. The last thing you should be looking at is my gun. In fact, you should be more concerned with what's right here. What's right here. That's the difference between a gun owner and a gun carrier. Between a GUNTARD and somebody who actually has a gun for their self-defense and understands that it's self-defense, not carry. It is self-defense, not the fucking tool. Because what you fail to understand within this chasm is that you can carry that tool right to the gates of hell. Or you can use that fucking tool to send the other son of a bitch there. It's a mentality. It comes down to, are you aggressive enough that when the situation arises and you have no other choice but to defend yourself, you do so with overwhelming aggression. I don't give a fuck if it's with a fucking ball-peen hammer. You deter them from becoming a threat further. And then you rout their instance of opposition. Quick, succinct, clipped. You have no other fucking bullshit about this. There is no question in the situation. I am shooting at you because you're being a jackass and you're trying to kill me. Fuck you. Do you understand now? It's very simple. It is in the mind. Every battle starts in the mind. Every war is won in the mind before it ever reaches the battlefield. This is what you really need to be paying attention to when you're talking about, oh, well, I carry this Glock, or I carry this, Glock with a Swizzy, or all this other crap. It doesn't matter how many rounds you fling, motherfucker. It only matters which round connects. It only matters how aggressive you are. Because if you refuse to be aggressive in the instance that you have to utilize that firearm, you're going to be bouncing all over the place. I'm scared of your mind, man. You can't freaking hold on to that thing because it's and you're done. And you didn't hit a fucking thing. It comes down to simply, fuck you. Boom, boom, boom. 3 down. Now I've got 3 left and I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on your buddy. I'm waiting on the next jackass who does not choose to turn and fucking run. That is the self-defense mentality. Once you get over this bullshit of, oh, I need a gun, or I need this, or I need that, and you realize right here, it puts something into your eyes that you cannot but help to relate to other people without speaking a word. It is constantly there. You will always see it. You'll see it in their face, in their demeanor, how they hold themselves, how their face looks at you. Are they looking at you with that, who is this person? Should I trust this person? Or are they looking at you like food? You have to think about this. Because you can't trust anybody. You're carrying a gun. I let people get right here. But you know what? I don't let people get behind me. There's something there to think about. If someone's behind me, I blade away. It's instinct. I'm not even thinking about, is this person going to take my gun? I'm thinking about, no, this person's not going to take my gun. I don't care what their thought process is. I'm going to handle my business at the same time as I'm going to make sure that you, whoever you are, you're not going to get one over on me. I'm going to see you coming a mile the fuck away and I'm going to have something for you. It probably won't even be the gun in the first place. It'll probably be my forehead. Because here's the thing. Trying to snatch my gun is like trying to grab a tiger by its tail when it's already seen you. And that's the mentality you need to have. Whether you're a Minuteman or you're a soldier or you're a police officer or you're a fucking just an average Joe on the road, you've got a gun stuffed in the front of your shorts like a jackass. You still need to think like this. Because if you don't, you are a fucking guntard. You are not a gun carrier. And you are definitely not armed. This is the reality of being armed. You can joke about it, fucking go out in sleeveless shirts all the fuck you want. That doesn't make you an armed individual. Armed is here. Equipped is here. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Q&A sticker. Anyways. Howdy ho, y'all. Sorry I missed anybody. Nosy. Kentucky. I'm on it. I see you. I know that's you. Anyways, as I was says, you know, the whole thing for me is that I put a post up on my channel. It's my most recent post. It says, tonight's topic of discussion, guntards. See, there's a little bit of a rib and a chuckle, but at the same time, it's very deadly serious. Every one of us that sits there and we say we're preppers and, you know, we're self-defenders and we're protectors of our flock, you know, this is what you need to think about. Just because you got a gun doesn't make you fucking invincible. You are not a damn force of nature, motherfucker. Sit back and recognize that to become that force of nature, it starts with you. Not with your gun, not with the baton, not with any of these other fancy weapons and tools. Get out of the tool mindset. You're a tool. Act accordingly. This is your weapon. This shit is my tool. You see the difference here? This is a tool. It's an inanimate object, cannot do anything unless I go and operate it. This is the reality of this. It is a tool. No more capable of jumping up and biting you than your alarm clock or your cell phone. It can't do anything on its own. It needs you. Are you going to be such a coward? You sit there, you've got a freaking Glock with a Swizzy stuffed down your pants and you're fucking shitting yourself because the other guy doesn't know you have one. But it's a situation happening around you. And because you have that choice, your brain isn't made up. So you think to yourself, well, fuck, it's not go time yet. It's not go time yet. And soon enough, that mentality continues to unfold until it's too late. And your go time was fucking minutes ago. This is why I don't like concealed carry. It makes people willing to be cowards because they see the threat, but because they are not the direct threat opposing at that moment, they don't feel compelled to work on it. It's really sad because that person, if they had felt compelled to work on it, to be that aggressive individual, to be Pancho Villa, that dude that walked in, shot the cop and then turned around and started shooting at the guy who was open carrying, he'd have made a decision, made it work. Instead, no, he's concealed carrying. He doesn't have to get involved. He can worry about getting other people out of the way. See, that only leads to further instances where that person can harm someone else. This is what I mean by having an armed mentality. Be the warrior. Even if you're a warrior in a garden. Don't be a freaking rat running out of the room. Because at the end of the day, the hawk's always going to find the rat. May not be right now, but it will be The real situation of it is, if somebody's open carrying and somebody comes in with those kind of dodgy eyes, you see that right away. You know it's happening. You can see it happening. And before the cop has even paid attention to it, you've got your eye on the ball because you're a hat on a fucking hot tin roof. You are spazzing out because constantly everything around you is trying to kill you, and you're aware of this shit. That's the reality of the world. What we have lived in here in the United States especially is a fucking anomaly. The peace that you know and you take so for granted is come down to that because of the American mentality of civis pacem, parabellum. If you want peace, be prepared for war. This is what bothers the absolute dog shit out of me. People go around and they go, oh, because I'm better armed, this, that, and the other. It doesn't fucking matter. You catch a piece of lead betwixt your ears, it's not gonna matter how bad you are, or how fucking well you are armed. What's gonna matter is, were you on point? This being your weapon, were you on point so that the ball never found you? That's the important part. That is being armed. I've seen people be armed that didn't carry a gun, didn't have one. I've seen people be armed that didn't even have a knife on them, didn't have pepper spray. Let that blow your mind for a second. Far more armed than the person standing at the front of the freaking line with a gun on their hip and a badge on their chest. You want to tell me about, oh, well, because I'm concealed carrying, I'm better armed. No, you're not. The other guy just doesn't know you have a tool. You're not better armed. In fact, you're more relaxed. Constantly being relaxed while having a firearm on your person, where it's your responsibility to respond in the threat. That is not the way to live. That's a way to die. That's a way to be one of those innocent bystanders that gets caught because he didn't fucking draw and fire. Gets his gun stolen, and then that gun ends up on the street in the hands of another jackass. This is the difference here. Having that armed mentality stops the threat before it ever escalates. Before it ever gets to that, oh, well, because I'm concealed carrying and I got it down my front of my pants, it's a pain in the ass to get out while I'm sitting down. That's a reality, believe it or don't. Hell, when I was younger, I used to have a little tiny freaking pocket pistol I had in a pouch that stuck right inside my belt. That little tiny Jennings that I used to carry. Just a little freaking squirrel beater, get off me gun, little belly gun. But I carried it right there in the belt loop right there. You know how many people I still got into a fist fight with? Couldn't draw the gun. It's a lethal weapon, and it was not displayed for the individual to know they were attacking an armed or so-called armed individual according to the law. Again, it's that problem there. Just because you have a gun doesn't mean you can legally use it unless you have certain things already working in your favor. This is one of the beauties of constitutional open carry. If your gun is out for people to see and they still choose to attack you, you have an ascertainment that they intend you lethal harm. Whether it's grave bodily injury or it is finality of life. It's that simple. And that's what it comes down to. I've watched all of this for so long and just been almost brokenhearted by the fact that I see people out there thinking they are hot shit when they are not. And this is coming from somebody who's a civilian by all recollection of natures, even though, yeah, I've done the Minuteman thing. Okay, big whoop. According to documentation, I'm still a civilian. I operate in a civilian capacity. Just because I've got training, that doesn't mean I should be any more of at an advantage than anyone else. But I am, because of one thing, and that is my mentality. I advance with the hand of friendship first. If that hand of friendship is slapped aside, I expect nothing but untoward action. And that is the way it's always been for me. This is something that I think anybody could turn around and learn from me, is that if somebody means you harm, they're going to show you. Even if they don't outright show you. This is why people kind of just, they broomstick sit around me. They're like, don't want to fuck with this guy. Because it's all here. It's that simple. Howdy. How's your day? Clipped replies. Quiet demeanor that says something is coiled inside. Don't fuck with that. This is where it really becomes important for you. Because when you are out there in the midst of the shit, you're dealing with society as we know it. And you're walking through your job, or you're dealing with, what have you, at the grocery store, going fishing or something, driving down the road and there's road ragers all around you. That mentality of, it's not worth my time until they make it worth my time. I'm not going to make it worth my time. That's when to use it when you're driving around. When it's go time, you'll know it because you'll see it. This is the whole mentality behind being a warrior, is to know when to fight, to know when to wait. Seriously. This is one of those big things that just always blew my mind about guys who get out of the military, and they still propagate this crap, by the way. There's several dozen people I've met on the YouTubes that propagate this crap. And they are veterans. They know better. But they sit there and they say, oh, well, because I got more rounds, I'm better armed, I'm more capable. No. Yes, but no. You're more capable because you're trained, because you've got a proper warrior mentality, and because your body and mind have been trained to hurry up and wait. Do you now understand why that exists in the military instead of, all right, we got this going, time to get your ass in gear, let's go, and then you get there and you just operate and you're done? Because that would be a lot less traumatic. But the reality of it is, the hurry up and wait sets you up for other instances that may arise. This is the important point of that. This is why when I look at guys who are veterans, that they don't even understand, they don't really understand what that's about. I'm sitting here going, fuck, I hate being on the outside. I know this shit, but these guys don't. What the fuck happened? More guntards. That's what it is. It's the guntardation. In so much that they think because they have a gun, they're armed. No. It is because of your mentality, because of your training, because of your constant diligence. Being vigilant at all times. That is what makes you a capable individual. That's what makes you into the warrior. This crap of, I've got a freaking saw, Bravo 249 or whatever. I don't fucking remember, don't care no more. It doesn't matter what gun it is. What matters is, how do you apply it? Because I'm not sitting here asking you whether or not you have one. I don't fucking care. I care, do you know how to fucking use it? Do you know how to apply it? Because if you don't, you have a hip ornament. I have a gun. You now understand the difference. A good way to look at this, and it's also a great segue into music, is to look at a few songs that I sat there and extolled, and another one that I'm going to tell you about. And it comes down to the lyrics in the music, by the way. The lyrics are the important part. For instance, 30 Seconds to Mars. This is what I'm segueing into because of the topic of discussion. Veterans, you should know these words very well. There's a moment to live and a moment to die. A moment of truth and a moment to lie. Again, the mentality I'm talking about is knowing your time and taking it. Knowing your opportunity. Accepting it. And operating within it. That's why it frustrates the absolute dog shit out of me when people go and they post all this crap. I like I said, I did this. I put a bunch of the conversations that I screenshotted up on my posts. One comment that's just more of me just venting to a friend, but also had a couple of pointers towards what he would say is, and I've thoroughly beaten that horse here. But it really is a situation of you are not armed. You are carrying around equipment. See, this is why I hate the mentality of it's not about the fittest, it's about the most outfitted. Because if you think about it, if you're fit here and you've got a freaking baseball bat, you are more capable of taking what Mr. Outfitted has than Mr. Outfitted is capable of taking what you have. Mr. Outfitted thinks he owns the fucking world. His ego is so goddamn big, his balls drag the ground and leave fucking furrows behind him. He's not hard to track. And he's really easy to get one over on. It's very simple. He's got so many different guns, he doesn't know which one to train with. He's got so many different items. He doesn't know what to do with it all. Beware the man who has a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, and nothing else. That man is dangerous. The man who has 1,000 rifles, 20 shotguns, half a dozen pistols, all the ammunition you could ever fucking hope to have. That man right there, that's a fairy. That man right there, he is pavement fodder. Because he thinks that because he's got all the cool gear and all the cool gadgets, he's going to make it out on top. He's not the guy like me or like you who's sitting there going, well, shit, I carry a, insert, and I train with it. Every time I go to the range, not just, oh, well, I have all these other guns and I train with them too, but I train with it every single time I go to the range, whether or not I train with the others. That right there is the difference. You are going to survive. The guy who trains with his Colt this time and his Glock next time, and in between that, he's pulling out his freaking Smith & Wesson subcompact 9mm and his... That's not training. That's plinking. And while it's fun and it can be helpful and useful, it's not the same thing. You're not getting your blood up. You're not forcing yourself to experience extreme adrenaline. Because when you get that adrenaline push in your system, before you get the dump, that's where you need to live in when you're shooting your gun. And you won't realize that until you train. Because, like I said, sitting there plinking isn't training. Living in that small window of adrenaline is going up, my heart rate has not fucking climaxed. I can operate right here and then right here. I can't operate up here. Nobody can. So you make it so that that end point, that end peak is delayed. You let that be the dump that happens after the fact. And the way to do that is to train. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. First, train mentality. You are not armed until you're fucking armed, motherfucker. Have that aggression ready. You don't need to use it right out the gate. Most of the time, you won't even have to use it. But it's good to train it. Because having that absolute, right now, I can go from peaceable, calm, happy to somebody just walked in and said, this is a robbery. Just sitting there having a good old chat. Relaxed as whatnot. Boom! And it's over. So anyways, what were we talking about again? Quick aggression. Off the mark. You're already moving before your gun's out. You haven't even freaking made a second thought. You're moving first. Then your gun comes out. Then you take aim. In motion. You make the shot count because you're in motion. You are driving the gun home. You're not sitting there going, okay, let me aim. Let me be careful. All right, squeeze the trigger slow as I breathe out. You're not doing any of that crap in an instant like that. You are driving forwards, being aggressive in that instance. This is the armed mentality. That whole fuck storm of everybody sitting there going, oh, well, I got this gun and I got all this other stuff and I train every week because I go down to the range and I go and I talk with my buddies and we go shoot beer cans and I've got good accuracy training. Yeah, if you didn't know this, that's the freaking propeller on top of the head, top of the hat, just, That's what I'm sitting here going and goofing on. That's the parody. Anyways, yes, you go out and you shoot your gun. Okay. Do you go out, run a lap around the building, then come in? Okay, here's my gun. Disassemble, reassemble, bring it out, fire 3 rounds, back on down on the table, lock out the freaking magazine, rack the fucking extra round out, double rack to make sure it's cool, then turn around, pull the slide, slap down, time. You don't do that. And I guarantee you don't. Because you're not training. You're thinking about it as it's just another day. Well, newsflash. Every single day is a training evolution. It is a training day until the bullets start coming back this way. Then it's real. And that's why in that moment, in that time, you have to be real. But until it becomes real, you have to train like it is. You have to push your body so that it thinks it is. That adrenaline dump of running around the block, then coming back inside. Here's my ID. Let me get to it before I have adrenaline dump. Come on, man. In there, rack around, 1, 2, 3 on the fucking target, stop, drop the mag, drop the freaking extra round, check to clear, slide off, disassemble, time. While it's just a simple, little workout, this, when everything comes down to the shitstorm you're going to go through in a life or death firefight situation, that increase of adrenaline is just like running around the block. It's the same amount of adrenaline. It's the same amount of exhalation and inhalation, hyperventilation. Okay? It's the same heart rate situation. You're on that incline. And it's going to continue on that incline until you sit down or you relax your body because all that blood is being pushed back into your heart. So it's going to keep on beating faster and faster and faster and faster. This is what I'm talking about. Being able to have the clear mind of as your heart inclines and increases in activity, you've already put those rounds on target where they need to fucking go. The situation is over. Now I can relax myself, take a deep breath. Shooting's over. Let me see my target. You refine yourself that way. Doing this other crap that I've seen, like, okay, don't get me wrong. Running through the scenarios is a great idea. It's awesome. But it doesn't give you the adrenaline dump. It doesn't give you the adrenaline boost. And it doesn't give you that singular moment of clarity to be able to slow your world down that doing a quick jog does. And using that quick pace of running to shooting to dead quiet. I'm not even walking around letting my body decompress. Because right then you're going to feel it. It's going to be that holy shit dump. And that's when it's going to really come to your mind. You're going to be like, wow. That was intense. And then turning around when it really happens, the actual adrenaline dump is going to be 10 times as bad. It might cause you to straight up pass the fuck out. This is why. Fire 3 rounds on your target and you disassemble. Because if the gun is disassembled and bullets are out of the gun and all that, it cannot fire when you fall the fuck out. So that's the training evolution. Doesn't matter how many rounds you actually fire. It matters. Okay, done firing. Gun disassemble. It can't shoot anymore. Because if I do a header into the concrete from adrenaline dump and, mental overload, I'm not going to end up freaking pucking one into my ass. Or into the neighbor's dog or kid or something. That's why that part of the training evolution is so important and why I put so much emphasis on it. It's really down to the bare nuts, nit and gritty. Like if you only have, this is the building you shoot at, you go and this is the range itself, and you have to go in, sign in every time with your ID. You make sure that the guy at the front desk knows, hey, I'm going to go do a freaking lap around the block. Let me in right away because this is how I need to do a training evolution. I'll give you my ID again, but we need to get there before I stop hyperventilating. Believe it or don't, this is actually what makes you a better trained individual. And it'll reduce a lot of the off-the-cuff aggression that you would normally feel in an instance like that. It'll help you to control those emotions because you have to use so much control in that instance of I'm jogging around and now I've got bullets flying down range to going, all right, I'm just in a conversation with somebody, but they're really aggressive. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try and de-escalate them with my voice. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to put them on their ass. Going from 0 to 100 right now. That's all of what that training evolution really means. It takes a lot to put this together, but once you've got it all together, you can make it actually work. I've seen a lot of guys come out of some serious shit because they trained like their life and the Lord's goodwill depended on it. That's the way my dad used to put it. Hell, that's the way I've heard it from a lot of different people. I train like my life and the Lord's goodwill depends on me being perfect. I know it's a lot to stretch for and it's a lot to go for. It's a really high tier to reach for. But at the end of the day, would you rather it be one round that you had to fire out of your 5-shot little freaking revolver? Or would you rather it was 50 rounds and you didn't get the guy and that motherfucker just ran off into the dark? And newsflash, he was wearing gang colors. They're coming back. And they are rolling deep. This is why I says, right here, right now, you are armed here. Then you are armed down here in these whatevers these are going to use or do. But you're armed here first. You can, and this has been proven, you can miss fast enough to win a gunfight. All you got to do is make somebody's chonies go real brown. Just a fact of life right there, you know. When somebody hits a deer, they're going to go, oh shit, you know. So you hit a deer, you'll know. Same freaking difference. Old boy ended up coming into the wrong home. He hit a deer. Oh. L's better, Todd. Nice to see you. David Lynn. Good morning. So, yeah, you know, I'm just sitting here chunnering on about the whole situation of what I says, you know, the armed mentality. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Honest to God. How you doing, Joey? Hi to Mr. Cuffed and Clued In. Thank you for being a friend, my brother. Anyway, Hoosiers, like I was saying, it's the armed mentality, you know? The whole mindset of not today, not on my watch, not here, and definitely not now. This is what I'm talking about when I says that is the armed part of being an armed individual. The smoke stick, all it does is it makes you, you know, more in that instance capable of delivering the same damage at the distance that will make the man go down. Good God. My jaw gets in my way sometimes. I start tripping over my tongue. Anyways, like I says, armed mentality. All right. And again, you know, this is why I think that felons have it right down pat. 100%. Like people who had that in their history, especially violent felonies. The mindset of having been through, I have to be super fucking aggressive because nothing else will suffice. That is the armed mentality. This is why I look at people when they say, well, violent felons shouldn't have guns. I'm like, you dumbass, you're the one who shouldn't have a gun. You're the one who should not have a gun. Because you do not understand what it takes to use it. You do not understand what it takes to have to be that aggressive son of a bitch to have to use it in order to defend others' lives. You think about it as this cool little fucking toy you've got. And I know this because I watched my uncle do it. I watched my dad do it. Hell, I watched me do it for years. Didn't pay attention to it until it really came down to it. I didn't have a gun. I was in a knockdown, drag-out fight, and the whole thing would have been avoided by 6 rounds and a crown, if you know what I mean. The whole damn thing would have been avoided. I would never have a suture, you know, well, I call it a suture, a scar running from here to here. I wouldn't have a half a titanium jawbone, and I wouldn't have a hole right here. That's what I'm saying. As aggressive as I was at the time, yeah, I held my own for a good minute. But not having the gun at the time because I wasn't aggressive enough. That made the difference. The only gun control in my book that I could even call gun control is muzzle control and trigger discipline. Everything else is lies sold to you by a politician. Plain and simple. And when I say lies sold to you by a politician, they are not laws. Any of you who have ever heard of Marbury versus Madison should know that. It should be imprinted on the back of your eyeballs. I mean, really, any law that should negate or negotiate against the United States Constitution cannot be law and should be treated so. Seriously. I've said it. It's in one of my freaking post pictures. I go back and look at it. I mean, like I said, gun legislation is not a stalwart of crime. Or sorry, a stalwart to crime. I got my words mixed up. Give me a second. Damn dyslexia. Anyways, honest to God, it's not a stalwart to a crime. It does not stop criminal activity. What does? Either the fear of or the direct application of instantaneous aggression that has both an on switch and an off switch. Knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off is what makes you a warrior. And it's the warrior mentality that actually saves lives. Guns aside, I'm talking real facts here. I'm not talking statistics or any of that crap. Because statistics are, oh my God, 100% of statistics are politically biased. 35% of them are made up on the spot. And 90% of statisticians cannot agree on a single thing. I'm sorry, you were saying what about statistics? Piss in the wind with it. The important thing is that the reality of the situation is that man who fought against that criminal had a gun, but that doesn't matter because he used it aggressively. He didn't wait around for somebody's permission. That's the important part. Sitting there and going, oh, well, is it go time yet? No, you have to know. You have to know. All right, this shit is not okay. I'm on point. Because to my knowledge, I'm the only motherfucker here that's got one. It's that mentality, like I said, that aggressiveness that you need to take on to your own self that actually wins the day. Now, I know this is going to piss off a whole bunch of people because, well, he's not left, he's not right, but he sounds like freaking both of them. That's the point. Politics don't enter the conversation. Except to tell the government they can go fuck off. Plain and simple. It's literally the only reason why politics enter the conversation is to tell the damn government that not yours, don't touch. So when you become fully aware of everything that this involves, when it finally sinks in and gives you an understanding of, holy shit, Blaine was right this whole fucking time. I hope you start paying attention. And I don't mean to me. I mean to you. Pay attention to yourself. Recognize that these arguments are stupid. They are self-aggrandizement. Because you only accept that, well, because I'm a concealed carrier, this is better. Or because I'm an open carrier, this is better. It has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter if you carry your gun on the outside of your pants or on the inside of your pants. It matters if you deploy it at high speed and at extreme aggression. And you utilize that upward ride on the swell to paddle forwards into the break. Little surfing term for all you surfers out there. Straight up, straight out. Paddle forward into the break. Use the rise of the swell. I've heard that argument before, and you know what? I think it's actually kind of dumb. Because if they don't know you're carrying, they're more inclined to actually be stupid. And that's an argument that the open carriers make. You know what my argument is? It wouldn't matter if I was carrying at all. In my presence, you're not going to pull that horseshit. Because my gun is not my weapon. I am. My gun is a freaking paperweight. It's a heavy ass freaking chunk of steel. Takes a lot of knowledge to be able to utilize appropriately, and a lot of training to be able to use effectively. I don't need all that to throw an elbow into your chin. I don't need all that to put my forehead on the tip of your nose and shove that motherfucker up into your brainstem. I don't need that to be able to take my hand, stick it up underneath the corner of your chin, and make you beg me for mercy. And you know what concealed carry does that not everybody thinks about? I'll let you know because I'm semi-open carrying right now. I'm concealed carrying OBW. I want to show y'all something real quick so as I can get this here done and YouTube doesn't have a fucking conniption. All right, there you go. It's empty, okay? I want to show y'all something. Concealed carry OBW. What are the actions necessary to draw my gun? Now, or concealed carry inside the waistband. We'll go with that. Inside waistband, up over the top. What are the actions I need to do? Do you see the difference here? I don't normally carry like this. That's why I'm showing you what I'm doing slowly, because I don't normally carry like that. But I'll try to do it quickly, okay? So, tuck one behind so we don't have a cold on the belly. Normal as you would carry. Do you see how much extra is in that? How much extra I have to slap in order to pull? How much of that extra pull up and out to get it out there is? I am marking myself as a fucking target perfectly. Now, let me show you from the hip, OBW, open carry. This ought to really be educational. You'll get to see what I mean by open carry is not what you think. Open, on the hip, able to be retrieved easily. Again, YouTube, so that you're not losing your minds. It is empty. This is how I train with my gun. I don't use blue guns. Okay. From the hip, open carry. Let's try it again. From the hip, open carry. Always moving off the mark. Always going through it and firing fast. Again, from here, I'm going to show you that there is an actual time delay in doing it like this. Versus and so as you can see, I practice constantly. This is my point. Aggression out the gate. It doesn't matter whether you're concealed carrying, open carrying, this, that, or the others. If you're sitting there concealed carry and you're not an aggressive person, how do I know that you're going to have my back? How do I know that you're going to have that little kid's back over there? You know, how do I know that you're going to help little Tommy or little Susie? I don't. But I recognize that you're not carrying it there where everybody can see it, where it says, hey, motherfucker, you're asking for it. Don't ask too hard. This is why I carry here. Either open or, if I'm wearing heavy clothing, concealed. OBW, constitutional carry. This is constitutional carry. When it's outside the waistband. When it is inside the waistband, this is not constitutional carry. This is concealed. Okay? There's a difference here. Having the hip holster, that just puts it into a placement where it is actually according to the human constitution. Notice how I didn't say United States Constitution. I said human constitution. Human, as in the anatomy of your body. What is natural? This or this? That is the difference. Coming to a point of anchor quicker. You don't know if the fight's going to be here or if it's going to be over there. But I'll tell you this much. From here, right here, you're down here. You're not here coming to the hip. You're right here trying to pull out, up and away, so that you can keep it out of arm's reach, and then coming up underneath to make the firing shot. There is so much more exaggeration in your motion in order to utilize something like inside the waistband appendix carry versus outside the waistband, where your pistol will clear and you can turn around and have it anchor. This is an important piece. I was actually instructing my sister on this. She carries concealed. Coming to an anchor point will be quicker. But in order to come to that anchor point for somebody who's inside the waistband, you have to come out and draw all the way out to come into that anchor point. This is what makes the difference between quick draw and stretch draw. You see the difference there? Because I have to clear my waistband, and then I have to clear my other arm, and I have to clear my body. All of this extra motion goes into drawing that gun from there. But drawing the gun from here, because it is according to quick snap reflex, the largest muscle groups on your body, to the hip and ready. You are to your anchor point already. You're not asking for permission. You're already there and ready. The aggression I'm talking about is that when it's time to go, when it's time to utilize that firearm, your training kicks in and takes over before you've even thought about it. You're in motion before they've thought about it. And your actions reflect your speed. I want you to understand that. You can see my gun on my hip from across the room, but you can see that it's on my hip. See, you're not seeing somebody at that moment fumbling with shirts and whatnot to try and pull a gun. At that moment, it's already out. That quick to violence is already there. And that's for up close and personal. Like I said, sometimes I let people get right up to kissing distance to me. And I sit there and I stick my elbow into my holster. A lot of people will see me do this. And I'll just be sitting there, T-Rex arms as a motherfucker, elbow in my holster. Go ahead and try and pull that, dumbass. You're not getting it out. You might get a forehead full of teeth real quick, but you're not getting it out. It's in there. It's secure. You're going to try and pull that thing past my elbow, and I'm going to take your arm and pull it out of your hand and use it on you. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Inside the waistband, appendix carry, openly. Okay? Say somebody comes right up on you. Bop, bop, bop. Grab. First and foremost. Okay? Again, all those exaggerated motions to get into place, but you're still in place. From the concealed, this is where the problem comes. Fuck! You're already dead. Because you had to grab for something that was inside your waistband. You already took a shot across the brain. Whether or not that's with a closed fist or that's with a gun. Going for that gun inside of your waistband, covered over with a shirt, being concealed like that, slows you down in a hand-to-hand situation. That's not your gun. That's his gun. The reason why I'm going through the motions with you on this is because I want to point out to you people that it's never a situation as cut and dry and clean as, well, you should have been, concealed carrying, or he should have been doing this, or should have been doing, no. You're not in the pilot seat. You're the co-pilot here. It's that simple. You are the fucking co-pilot. Because you are thinking, well, if he doesn't see my gun, he has no reason to attack me. You realize if a criminal's going to crime, then a criminal's going to crime. They don't give a rat's ass about your gun, and they've already forgone the conclusion. They realize that, yes, a bullet hurts, but they'll probably survive. This is what I'm talking about. All right? In the instance, you actually have to utilize such thing as swiftness and violence of action. You need to know your equipment. And on top of that, know yourself at your best so that you can be capable at your worst. And what I consider my worst is coming from concealment. If I have to come from concealment rather than from the hip, it's not going to be a good day. Matter of fact, I'm probably got no more days left if I've got to come from concealment rather than from the hip. I hope you all learned some from this. I hope it was instructional. And that in the future, if you carry like I carry every single day, every single waking second of my life, and twice as much when I'm in bed, I hope you actually understand what it means. That these things are just tools. You are the weapon, not the gun. The gun is never the weapon. It is the tool that the weapon utilizes in order to affect the theater. So I hope that, I got something through to y'all. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. I just wanted to get that to y'all, that full on being armed is not having a gun or a knife or a bow or a bomb. Being armed is a mentality of aggression. An instantaneous response to the threat of violence or bodily harm. That's what being armed is. It means you're willing to survive. We need to stop this whole horseshit of, oh, because I got a gun, I'm armed. Or, oh, because I got a knife, I'm armed. Or, oh, because I got a taser, I'm armed. That is not armed. It has never been. except in the fantasies and the minds of governments that wish to control you. Being armed means you are uncontrollable. You're the only one who's controlling you. That's exactly what being armed is. Think of it like a bomb. When you go and you set a bomb, what do? In order to get it ready to detonate, you arm it. See, you arm it. You arm a bomb. It doesn't mean that it's about to explode right then, but it could. That's the important part here. That's the correlation you need to be making. You are fucking TNT. AC/DC, play me out. I'm just kidding. I don't have AC/DC on wire, but y'all get me. You know, be that stick of dynamite. Be that raw explosive internally. That coiled viper ready to strike, but always settled calm. That right there is something that, if I could actually freaking bottle that shit and sell it, the United States government would turn around and sell it directly to the troops. Because that's the mentality you need as a soldier, as a sailor, as a Marine, as anybody in the military. Pure fucking bottled lightning. It's honest to God what everybody really needs. To have that, like Carl Jung says, that shadow in the back, but is also part of you. And you can actually call on that shadow, that creature, when you need to. It'll be there, just waiting to be pulled into the situation. Your demons are your greatest fucking superpower. But you have to know when to use them and how to use them correctly. So, like I said, hope y'all enjoyed this. And this is Yo Guardsmanom. I'm out. If you didn't catch the first, go back and do 30.